Hey, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining another video of the series JavaScript Synchronous and Asynchronous Programming. I hope you are enjoying this series. Thanks a lot for all the comments and all the likes to the video so far. So today we are going to discuss about a very important topic called callback. So we'll understand what callback is, how to use, what is the advantages, disadvantages, everything. And we'll also learn about it with some practical examples so that you get the concept of callback much faster. Before we get started, my request to you to subscribe to this channel, hit the bell icon so that you get the notification. And if you like the video, please like, share, and comment. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss, feel free to DM me on Twitter. I'll be able to kind of reply back to you as soon as possible with clarification. All right. So without any further delay, let's get started with the topic straight away. Before we start talking about callback, let us quickly understand what functions are in JavaScript. So in JavaScript, functions are like a set of statements that you logically put inside the function, inside a body, and that you can actually reuse in multiple times. So how do you write functions in JavaScript? You write it using the function keyword, then the function name, let's say foo, and then you have function body. This is function body. You can write anything in the function body. I can do a console.log foo, and the console.log foo gets executed only when I invoke foo. Until then, the function never gets executed. So I invoke foo, and once I save it, the function gets executed, and we'll be able to get the output like the console.log of foo. Now another great thing about JavaScript function is you can pass parameter, like basically the arguments to your function. So for example, I can pass a number 2 over here. I can actually accept the number 2 over here, and then I can print that number, let's say foo with template literals. I print this num, num, right? Backtick. So now this is going to print foo2, yes. So that's what happens. Now there are a few other things. It is not only the number or the strings that you can pass as an argument. You can also pass another array. You can pass an object. In fact, you can pass another function as an argument to a function. You know it? So let's pass a function now. So I'll pass a function, create another function. In this case, I'm not giving the function any name. If you don't give any name to a function, the function is called anonymous function. Okay, there could be a situation that you don't have to create a function with a name explicitly. This could be one of the situation where I just want to make some quick action inside a function and just pass it. I don't want to create it outside with a name or things like that. That time you'll be using a function without a name. It's called anonymous function. So I'm creating an anonymous function now, and I am passing this anonymous function to as an argument to foo function. So in this anonymous function, just for the demonstration purpose, let me have a console.log called bar, right? So now I'm passing a function. Let's change this name, because this name num looks like I'm passing a number, which is not quite correct. So let's put it like bar. And how am I going to make use of this bar function here? You know what? So when you actually use the function name like this bar with a parenthesis, it means that you are executing this function, right? You're invoking this function. So the function from here to here gets passed as function body to bar, and once you have the parenthesis after that, it means you are now invoking this particular function inside it, right? So once you invoke that, what I'm expecting the bar as output, because this function, once they execute, it's going to do a console.log of bar. Now this is a very powerful concept, that you are passing a function as an argument to another function. Why it is a very solid fundamental aspect is because you can do anything with this bar function now. You can call it as a first statement, you can call it as a statement somewhere in between, or you can call this bar function inside foo based on certain condition. It is completely up to your business logic when do you want to call bar. With the same concept, the callback coming to picture. What exactly the callback? If there is a caller, here foo is somebody who is a caller, right? Who wants to do something, right? Is a caller, and inside foo there are certain execution happen. After some execution, whoever actually going to notify like from where the foo has got called. So foo has got called from this particular main.js file. So main.js is the caller of foo. So if certain execution, after certain execution of foo, if I want to notify main.js, hey, foo's execution is done, I can actually do using this callback function. Basically a function that gets passed as an argument to another function. How to do that? Let's understand with a real life example, so that if you get that, you will probably understand the usage of callback everywhere. Okay, so let's get down doing this. Okay, so here is a story for you. So little boy Robin, who likes pizza very much. What Robin does, in one morning Robin takes his mother's phone. He logs into the Pizza Hub application, basically to order pizza, then select his pizza, press the order button, and the pizza gets ordered. So once the pizza get ordered, there are a couple of things happen, right? It takes some time to make the pizza, and once the pizza is done, the Pizza Hub app going to notify Robin saying that, hey, your pizza is done, now the pizza is on the way, and it is going to get delivered to you probably within 30 minutes. Robin, being a little boy very excited about this pizza, he keeps waiting for this particular pizza because he got a notification now that his pizza is on the way, and the finally pizza delivers. He eats it and enjoy it. I hope you like the story. Now in the crux of this story, there are few things. One is Robin first orders a pizza. Once Robin orders a pizza, something happen into the Pizza Hub application, right? It start preparing the pizza, and once the pizza gets prepared, it's going to notify Robin saying that the pizza is done. This notification, this notify part is where callback coming to picture. Now in this story there are few statements: ordering the pizza, preparing the pizza, notifying Robin, delivering the pizza, right? There are a bunch of statements. Now if we try to put these statements into a function called order pizza, how is that going to look? So let's do that order pizza and try to understand callback along with that. So we are back to VS Code again, and what we're going to do, we are going to first say Robin's phone side. What happened? Robin is going to order a pizza. So let's try to do like order pizza is a function, and that takes two arguments. One is the pizza type. Let's take a veg pizza. Let's assume that Robin's favorite pizza is cheese barbecue. Yeah, let's say cheese barbecue. So this is the order pizza. So as the order pizza function gets invoked by the tap of a button on Robin's mother's phone, there is something happen, right? There's some statement I told that happened. So let's try to write that. So at the Pizza Hub end, what happened is like we will be writing this function order pizza. It takes a type and a pizza name, and then we are going to do something about it, right? Okay, so first thing that we are probably going to tell is like, hey, console.log, your pizza is, okay, I really hate this Copilot is completing this. I would like to write by myself. So console.log, I don't like this concatenation. So like pizza of type space $name is being made. Before being made is ordered. And now what we'll do is like we'll be going towards preparing the pizza. Now preparing pizza might take some time, right? Now just to indicate that it is going to take some time, what we'll be doing is like we'll be putting our favorite function set timeout. What set timeout does is like whatever you put inside set timeout, you put it with the time delay. After the time delay, that function is going to get executed. So the set timeout, what we are going to do first, we are going to say write about it a function. Let's say it takes 3 seconds, and inside that function what we're going to do, like let's say console.log pizza is ready, right? So that's what we're going to do, the pizza is ready. So our order pizza function is pretty simple. It's like it takes the type, it takes the name, it says that pizza is ordered, and after say 3 seconds is going to talk about to say that here, you know, that particular pizza is ready. That's pretty much it. It's not going to do anything more than that. So you know, pizza is ordered, and after a few seconds it will probably tell that, you know, it is ready. So pizza is ready. See, it's ready. But did you notice one problem? All this thing happened, all this console log and all happened in the order pizza function. And order pizza function is at the Pizza Hub end. That means Robin's on his phone still haven't got any notification, right? We are not telling Robin that the pizza is ready. We are not telling him that pizza is on the way. Now to fix that, we need something called a callback function. How do we do that? So what we'll be doing here, we'll be taking one more parameter, say callback. This callback nothing but a function. And the next thing that we're going to do, this particular message, we are going to put inside one variable so that we can actually reuse that, say message equals to this guy. And then instead of doing a console.log here, what we are going to do, we are going to do callback of message. So it means anybody calling order pizza, if they are passing this function over here, some function over here, I am actually invoking that function after certain operation. In my case, the operation is once the pizza is done. So once the pizza is done, I am going to tell the caller, in this case Robin's phone, hey buddy, pizza is done. So let's do that. So I'll be passing a function. Okay. And this function is going to take this one, right? And what I'm going to do, the function, what exactly this function is expecting right now for me to do is expecting that I'm passing a message. So basically I'll be passing this message over here, and I am going to do a console.log of message over here. So let's do that. Okay, so console.log of message over there. So let's understand this if entered example, line by line. Now Robin is calling this, Robin is actually doing this order pizza. What Robin is telling is like, I want a veg pizza. I want the veg pizza of name cheese barbecue. And once the pizza is over, I am actually expecting a callback over here. So why this callback function is also passed. So in the order pizza, what happened is first says pizza is ordered. It takes some time to order the pizza, and once the pizza is done, it's saying this ready, I want to notify Robin, is calling actually Robin's callback function so that Robin gets notified, right? So there is a huge difference between what we were doing. We are putting the console log over here, rather we are notifying the caller like, with a callback function. In your real life, that's what exactly a callback function does. Nothing more, nothing less. So I hope you understand the concept of a callback function. Even one beautiful thing is like the set timeout. If you see there, what the set timeout does, basically it takes a callback function. After 3 seconds elapsed, this callback function gets called, right? This is again another callback function example, right? So I hope you understand the example of callback function. In the next video, we are going to talk about promise chain and then the async await. So please stay tuned, subscribe to this channel, and I am going to see you very soon with my another video. Until then, please take a great care of yourself. See you very soon. Bye bye.